Welcome, Mr. Gübelin.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I think you did a fantastic summary of our company.
I'm extremely delighted to have Mr. Raphael Gübelin, who is the president of the House of Gübelin. He is the sixth generation family member who will talk to us about the incredible family legacy and also show us one-of-a-kind exclusive gems and jewelry. So allow me to share a bit about the journey of the House of Gübelin, which began in the year 1854 with the opening of a watchmaker shop. And over 164 years, the family-owned business house has passed on its family traditions, principles, and core values to the next generation. And over the years, the company has expanded. And today they have jewelry ateliers, gemological laboratories, several salons and boutiques internationally. And Gübelin also believes in sharing its knowledge and inspiration through Gübelin Academy, which is now online. We are extremely delighted to hear the remarkable journey from you.
I think you did a fantastic summary of our company. I don't even know what I'm going to do here.
Let's begin by knowing about Gübelin heritage and legacy.
Thank you. Yes, as you already said, we started in 1854. In 1854, we started as a watch and clock company, as a small little store in Lucerne, in the heart of Switzerland. And from there, we then slowly expanded. And we fairly quickly realized that our customers who enjoyed watches also enjoyed jewelry. So then around 1905, we started getting into jewelry and start purchasing jewelry with gemstones. And it's also the same time that a lot of the synthetic gemstones came on the market. And so we knew we didn't want to sell fake gemstones to our customers. So we had to learn to study colored gemstones and diamonds and really find out how can we differentiate between synthetic and real ones. And we got better in that. And at one point, we also then realized that, okay, since we already know so much about gemstones, why do we actually buy the jewelry? Why don't we design it ourselves?
Lovely.
So then around 1920, that is when we started to design our own jewelry pieces, when we start buying the gemstones and put them into beautiful jewels. And shortly after, that was actually when other people came to us and said, wow, you guys really know what you're doing and with colored gemstones and everything. Can you give me a paper written what my stone is? And we said, okay, well, why not? And that was the birth of our gemological laboratory, where we said, okay, we're going to do that as a full service because we have the know-how, but now we're going to share it with other ones, and we're going to allow to certify other people's gemstones. So then it started on that we expanded our retail network with more stores in Switzerland, but also we were at one point in New York. We loved to go to America. We very much enjoyed that. So my ancestors went on the boat and traveled over there and saw customers, and it was quite an exciting time. And then my great-granduncle, Edward Gübelin, he was a passionate gemologist. And he was really fascinated by the inside world of colored gemstones, and he could dive in and just dream in there. And for him, he realized actually that when you compare stones from the same region and you look in and you look at the infusions, you could actually determine where a colored gemstone is coming from. And this was huge because in comparison to diamonds, you don't know actually where a diamond comes from unless somebody tells you, but you cannot tell it from its composition or anything like that. So colored gemstones all of a sudden were very different from diamonds. And this really gave the industry a new direction in the colored gemstone. And for me, that was also one of the big things. When I joined the company in 2007, I slowly got into the family history and trying to understand everything. And I said, until then, we basically designed jewelry, as we pleased, and as my father thought it would be right, or my grandfather. But I was wondering, how can I get something more connected, more rooted to our history? And there it was, because Edward Gübelin was so fascinated by the inner world of colored gemstones. I said, why don't we use the same approach for our design? Why don't we get inspired on the inside of colored gemstones, in inclusion, in the world of inclusion, and get that inspiration and start creating beautiful jewelry? And since then, 2013, we constantly only get inspired by the inside world of colored gemstones to create our jewelry. Because I believe that when you take a treasure like a colored gemstone, it has inside all the beauties of a certain country, all the history comes there. Right. So we should not be arrogant. We should take that and look inside and say, what does the gemstone tell us? And recently I had a great talk with one of our designers, and she described it so beautifully. She said, you know, sometimes I just sit there, I stare inside, and I wait until this gemstone starts talking to me and tells me its story. And then I'm basically only the one writing it and designing it, but the gemstone is the one telling me the story. And this is our heart, our passion, and I think this is what makes our pieces so different.
Absolutely. So here's a big round of applause to the entire legacy of your beautiful family. We are looking forward to seeing those incredible gemstones and jewelry.
Now, I have a few pieces here. Thank you for giving me the chance. So I would love to start off with this beautiful emerald earrings. So these are a stunning piece, and as you can see here, there's all kind of diamonds, and very importantly too, is in the front. I'm not sure how good you can see it. Ruby is one of our elements that we put into each of our jewelry pieces, because the ruby is the king of the gemstones, and it's the passion and the fire, and it stands for love. So we thought this is the perfect element that we can add to each of our beautiful jewelry pieces to really excite the person who wears it, to give him that confidence, and also representing our company values.
How lovely. So you mean to say each and every jewelry of yours will have a ruby gemstone?
Absolutely correct. So most of the time we're trying to put it on the outside, so like over here, where we really have it on the outside. But sometimes you have to say, it's not really the right thing, and it's maybe over the top. So then we put it on the inside, because it's supposed to complement the piece of jewelry, and it's not supposed to distract. But it's supposed to give it a little hint that people get excited and say, I know, this is Gübelin.
Yes.
So I can show you this beautiful, I'm going a little closer, beautiful sapphire ring, and here we put it on the side.
So elegant and so graceful.
So at the end it's just a classical, beautiful sapphire ring, but it has a little signature of our company there. And maybe I can go very quickly back to the beautiful emerald earrings that I showed before. This one here. So just to share with you how we go about the design. Here we go.
Yes, please.
With the design, you can see that we get inspired by the inclusion and then also by the country where it's originated, and then come up basically with the beautiful jewelry piece.
That's gorgeous. That's such an inspiration.
The jewelry is our passion. It's one of our passions, besides gemology, of course.
Yes.
And this is also the reason, for me, we always had this great passion about gemology. And in 2013, we wanted to share it more broadly with our clients and with our friends. And that's why we created the Academy. This was
lovely.
And for me, it was a different approach than other ones would use. I said, instead of just going scientifically, I wanted to share the stories, the passion of colored gemstones, the beautiful things around them, and not going into this is the chemical composition.
Right.
It's important, but it's not where the passion lies. So
Right.
our program is much more catering to people who are looking for stories for passion, and not about being a full-fledged gemologist at the end of the day. So we have 3 levels: a basic level, which goes 2 days, and then we have a 5-day class, and level 2, and then you go even more deeper, where you get more hands-on, where you really go into the microscope. That's afterwards level 3. And after that, you have a very good understanding that you can pick up some gemstones and look at them in a very different way and understand more why is one more valuable, or what do you have to look at to judge a colored gemstone. And of course, since last March, we had to be creating more, or had to be more creative, and that we can't hold classes in person as often as we would like to. So what can we do? Let's go online. So this January, we launched our first online classes. So it's a self-learning class. I'm very excited about it. We had over 200 people that already, I think, took the class, and it's really quite a success around the world. So it's not just Swiss or Asians, it's completely around the world. People are taking it from South America, from Africa, and they enjoy it because they can learn on their own pace as they want to, and they get a really good understanding. So this is really a big passion for me as well. So for me, there was one more element. When we talk about colored gemstone, we know about, okay, they're beautiful. We know they're special. We know that there is certification, which we already offer. So you can have a certificate which tells you a lot about the information on colored gemstone, what it is, where it comes from. That's all good. And we also share the passion through our academy. And then I said, okay, but it's still a very complex environment. How can I make it more simple? Let's try to simplify it. Let's allow people to have more access to it. And I personally, I'm a lover of good wine. I enjoy drinking wine. And one night at home, I was like, we were talking to my friend and said, hey, this is a great thing. You can actually choose wine by looking at partner points, at Wine Spectator, at all these different points. And they give you an understanding if a wine is good or not, or if you should try it. And of course, it's a taste idea, but it gives people who have less understanding a way to get access to it. And I said, what are we trying to do that for colored gemstones? Let's try to make a simple way of a rating system, our opinion from experts, to what we think is beautiful, has a high quality, has a great appearance. And that's when we came up with the Gübelin points, a rating system that we wanted to share with the world, where we believe it allows people who have less understanding to better get a handle on it and say, okay, now I can follow why this stone, which is 4 carat, is more expensive than another stone which has also 4 carat. Because a lot of the time the certificate is a very important information, but by itself, you don't know exactly what to do, how to understand or justify certain price differences. And for us, it was just an ambition to bring simplicity to the industry, to the consumers, to the people who want to buy it. And also, one of my most important elements was, let's focus on the beauty of it. Because don't get hung up so much about origin. Yes, we know that the emeralds from Colombia, they're just beautiful. We know that. But there's also other origins which produce very, very beautiful colored gemstones. And we should also allow them to be recognized as beautiful. At the end, we still know from certificates, this is coming from this direction, or from this place, or this comes from another.
Right. Right.
So this was my ambition behind the gem rating, and it has been launched and quite successfully. We got a lot of reactions. I do have to say, not always positive, but this is normal, and I think it's great that it's not just positive, but it shows that people are looking for something like that. It's a need in the industry, it's a need from the consumers, and it gives them access. And if people start talking to it about it, then it's good. Then we know we did something.
Absolutely. You've successfully launched Gübelin Academy online, and you've also launched Gübelin Gemstone Rating. So for our audience who would love to gather more information about both of them, can you please guide us? How can they gather more information about the Gübelin online as well as the Gemstone Rating, please?
So, of course, you can find us online at our website at gübelin.com, where you find all the information. Or we also have an Instagram account, which you hashtagged us on. So great, thank you very much. And you can find a lot of information on us on there.
Lovely. And as you were talking about the Gübelin Academy, we had one of the audience who has graduated from your Gübelin Academy from the basic course, and she has shared words of compliment that it was a wonderful experience. So here's a great applause to your successful Gübelin Academy.
I'm very happy to hear that. Thank you.
Pleasure. All right. So now let's see some more treasures. What you have, some more jewelry pieces.
So I have another beautiful piece of earrings. I love them.
Oh, these are my favorite. Right.
They're rubies, and what I especially like here, of course, is the dangling, which is a lot of fun. But we're also working, or we're trying to integrate some multifunctionality, so we can. Let me put that down. So we can also take them out, and we have a very easy clip system where you take them, and now we have this, and we have this.
Lovely.
And it's a very easy way to hook it back in. You just go in and to the front, and it makes a little clip, and now it holds. So I think great, because we feel that a lot of the time our customers love the color gemstones, but they don't want to always have this magnificent look. They sometimes want to wear it during the day. So then it's easy to take it away and it still looks great. Or even if you want to have a completely different look. I'm particularly a big fan of mix and match. So you take something maybe very classy, maybe something in white gold, but then start mixing it with red gold, maybe even with something which has no color inside, just to give it a contrast. We don't want to be too boring. We need to live our life. So I have another fabulous, and this is one of my favorites. And this is the grace of the sea anemone, as we call it.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much. Gorgeous.
So it's with Paraiba tourmalines.
Very rare stones.
They're super nice. And my wife saw them and she fell in love with it. And she said, listen, it reminds me of the ocean. I just love that color. And we used that after she gave birth to my son. Then it was my gift to her, the whole set of these Paraiba tourmalines. And then we created a piece out of it, and we looked into it, and we found all these interesting patterns inside of the Paraiba tourmaline. And I think it's a very gorgeous piece that you can wear casually in a certain way if you're combining it again with mix and match, or very elegantly. So you can also have the earrings with it, and the ring and everything. So it's a fantastic piece, one of my favorites. And lastly, we also have one of our big monster pieces. Of course, we are very much into special color gemstones, not just the known big three, as you say, the ruby, sapphire, and emeralds, but also another fantastic one is this one here. Let me see. Yep, I'm getting closer. So this is paparacha.
Right.
center. And paparachas for me it's fascinating. I mean, we know that it's still a sapphire, but it's like the ruby. The ruby technically is a sapphire just in red. And here we have a sapphire orangey in red, and that's when it becomes a paparacha. And for me, one of the really very special stones, very rare. I mean, comparison to many other gemstones, this is really, really rare. And a beautiful color, and it's not as loud as other gemstones, and it blends in beautifully. And the nice part about it, but I have to honestly say, I cannot demonstrate it that quickly, is that this gemstone we can actually take out, and maybe one person on my side can do that quickly, because we can then put it in this ring. So again, you can take out the colored gemstone and then afterwards put it in the ring. I'm trying to demonstrate that now, live, which is not always that easy, but it works very well.
Take your time. Take your time.
Oh, we're doing well. See, now I took it out. So this is now the setting without the piece. We have like a, and this is difficult to show. I have a little piece to, here we go. A little piece that is setting if you do not want to have the gemstone inside.
Right.
And my colleagues are working hard to get it out of the necklace. We want to make sure we don't damage the piece, of course. It's easily done. This is what I very much enjoy with our craftsmen here in Lucerne. It's not just about that it looks great, but they're also trying to develop ways how to make it much easier for people to wear it, to make it more comfortable, or to come up with new ways how you can actually create such multifunctionalities. So here again,
beautiful.
I have now the gemstone, and now I'm putting it in here.
Wonderful.
And down. And clip it, because we want to be sure that it holds. This is always the important part. And I hear the click, and therefore it holds, and now you see it. I mean, it's great. You can wear a cocktail ring when you don't want to have this very big piece. So I think this is really something special. And of course, we have the ruby again on the side, which is
I was just going to ask you.
It cannot be missed, right?
Beautiful. So can you also show us where have you placed a ruby in the necklace? I was going to ask you that question earlier.
So in the necklace, it's at the front. So it's more visible there. Thank you. Now I have to get it.
Yes, we can see it.
So you can see it right here.
Gorgeous. It's like a trademark, you know.
All the different colors that we have here placed. So it's not just a plain diamond. We have some colors as well to play around a little bit more with it. And of course, very flexible down here on these elements. They move a little bit.
Wonderful. You've shown us such exclusive jewelry. May I know what is the inspiration behind each one of them? Because each one of them is so unique and so remarkable, and they are such conversation starter.
So that's why we always, with masterpieces, we always start with looking into the colored gemstone. We say, okay, we have that beautiful paparacha, and we go inside and we say, okay, let's see what we can find in there, and do we find an inspiration? And so for us, it was this inspiration that got our designers excited about to see and trying to build afterwards a piece of jewelry that would fit that gemstone. So I think this is really the way how we are approaching it. And let me see if I see the. Of course, every gemstone also comes with our certificate, which is important to make sure. But it's the inspiration from within that gets us excited. And if we go into line, usually it's a masterpiece that we start off and we say, okay, here it is, but then we have some jewelry that are designed according to that masterpiece, but not, so it's not every piece of jewelry is different and unique. It's when it becomes to the masterpiece, the very high-end one. The lower, the less valuable ones, or the slightly less expensive ones, there, of course, we cannot do that process because it takes quite a long time. When you look into it, you need to find the inspiration. So this is also why we call them unique pieces and masterpieces.
And since you showed us the Gübelin Gem Pot, we would like to know more about the services offered by Gübelin Gem Lab. And also, please highlight to us about Gübelin Gem Lab scene.
Yes, so the Gübelin Gem Lab, we have basically, now we have 4 services. So we have the regular gem, we have actually more. We have the gem report, that's the original one. We have the gem portrait, which is for exceptional large stones you can ask for a portrait. I think until now there have been under 20 portraits in the world. So this is really for the crème de la crème of color gemstones. And then they also come with lots, it's kind of a book afterwards that you receive with lots of information. And then there is kind of a smaller version of it. We call it a profile. The profile is the one that's an extended information on a certain color gemstone that is available to anybody. And I think it's beautiful because it goes again to our philosophy. We love the things where they come from. We want to share that knowledge. We want to talk about the beauties from that country, and therefore that is important. That's what we show in the profile. And then we also have a passport. The passport, the jewelry passport, is for mounted pieces that have multiple gemstone inside, but they just want to have kind of an information on this is the piece and this is what we found in. It's not a deep analysis, so in comparison to the report, but it gives you an indication of what it is. Is it sapphire? Is it not? So this is kind of what is inside. And then the last one, of course, is the gem rating, the rating service that you request from us. Right now, we offer the rating free of charge for people who get a gem report, so it will just automatically come as a separate paper. If you don't like it, throw it away. If you like it, keep it. It's great to have. And it's also available to color gemstones that have not a certificate from us, a report. So if you have another report from another important house, there's no problem. We will still give you a rating independently of that report. And I think it's very important. We wanted to do that. And this was also the reason why we did not include origin determination into the rating system, is because we wanted to allow people that have already a report from a respective other gem lab to be able to use that and just add the rating to it. So it's supposed to be very independent. And for us, it's very important that you can share that information, that the customer has all the information available. He has the information from the person selling it. He has the information from the gem lab on the report, everything, and he has an idea of how it compares in the market. But this is a subjective, what we feel. There might be in the future several rating systems that give different opinions, but I think this is the way to go forward and give people the real information that they need to have.
As you were talking, the only thought that came to my mind again and again was that, family believes a lot in sharing the information with everybody. Because here you're talking about your Gübelin Academy, which is about sharing information, talking about gemstone rating, which is also again sharing information, and sharing information with complete transparency, complete honesty, and with so much passion, which I can actually feel through as you're addressing to all of us. That's so incredible.
Thank you. Yes, it's really our belief that with sharing, we can do much more. The color gemstone industry and the market is fairly small. So it's not something that we need to fight against each other. It's much more we need to embrace and embrace the beauty, because they're so rare. And color gemstones is some of the rarest elements that you can find. And therefore, we need to share that passion. And I think people who... I was not a color gemstone person at all. I started with the company and I like finance, like all these other things. What am I going to do here? And I think that. And, you know, first, jewelry is more difficult for a man. But when you then start with the color gemstones, you're like, wow, this is amazing. This is rare. This is special. So we got, I was excited, and I think I could share that excitement with all my teams, and they're excited, and so we are just trying to share that with the world.
How lovely. So you spoke about gemstones, you've spoken about jewelry. Here's a question. What advice would you like to share with someone who's looking to build a collection of jewelry or gemstones?
I would say the most important thing is just buy the things that you love. Because it's just because there's a high price on something and you don't like it, never buy it. Each gemstone, in my opinion, is something that can connect with you. And you can touch it. You can have tens of rubies here, and you will feel the one that works with you. And then you buy that. Even if other people say, this one is better and so forth, buy the one that you feel that you love.
Essentially, jewelry is such a piece, it has to speak to you. It has to make you feel special, and you just need to feel the inner connection with that gemstone, with that diamond, with that piece of jewelry once worn on your hand or on your neck.
Again, the ruby for us is really that one that shares the power. And this is something why we wanted to include it. And I kind of believe in the way that they give you a certain power. People also believe that with emeralds it's good for fertility, for growth of your family and things like that. I believe in that. I truly believe it. I think that they have some magic to it that we might not be able to explain yet. Well, maybe it's just something in my head. I don't know.
No, absolutely. Right, because in India, people buy gemstone depending upon their birth sign and depending upon like the power which a particular gemstone has. So emerald has its own power, rubies have their own power. So there's a reason, and the aura around these gemstones, that's how people also would like to invest in. And ruby, of course, is a symbol of love, purity and power. So I'm sure people would love to see that ruby between the emeralds or between the sapphires.
Yes, it's really, it gives that power at the end. I love it.
Absolutely. I would like to know, are you planning to have any presence in India? Because India is a huge market of gemstones. So why not have a presence in India?
That is a great idea. First thing for me, I would need to come and visit.
You have to.
Yes, I was planning to do that 1.5 years ago, but because of all the problems that came, it was not possible. But I have some good friends that from India that I want to visit and I want to see the country. Last time I was in Sri Lanka, I fell in love with Sri Lanka, but we buy a lot from gemstones from there. It's maybe not the right place to sell it, but maybe India would be an interesting market. The Indian people have a big passion and a long history of color gemstone, of jewelry. Some of the biggest pieces are developed or were there from the Maharashtra.
Yes, it will be an absolute pleasure to have you and to host you. So next time, whenever you plan to come to India, please do let me know. It will be my absolute privilege to at least meet up with you.
That would be amazing, and we could meet in person.
Yes, so moving further, my next question is to know about provenance proof.
So provenance proof is an initiative that started a few years back, and our aim was to bring transparency to the color gemstone industry. We felt that it's very important for our industry to be more transparent, to show where things come from. And so that's when we started the provenance proof. At the first, we developed a way, how could we set a marker on a color gemstone as close to the mine as possible, if possible in the mine, that would stay on the gemstone through the entire process and still be there at the end, but at the same time not impacting the beauty of the color gemstone.
Right.
And our first success was with a small DNA tracer that we were able to develop. We started off with emeralds. The emeralds have a good way, I was trying to simplify it, that it's kind of like a sponge. And you can then put that sponge, that emerald, into the liquid where the nanos, the DNA is inside, which is unique. And then it goes all the way in. And then you can cut it, you can polish it, you can do everything, you can mount it, and the DNA is still in there. And this is a great way because you can say, okay, this has been proven to come from that origin, and is it really from there? And we can take it out and can tell you yes or no. And once we were able to do that, and we developed that, we said, of course, we want to continue developing ways how to add it to other color gemstones. We also found now a solution that we can add it to diamonds. And diamonds, we cannot do it in the mine because usually really rough diamonds are subjected to some chemicals to get the rock out and things that will not allow the DNA to survive. But there's other ways how we can actually do that. But we are able to start a complete tracing of diamonds as well and some other color gemstones. And for us, it's like, oh, cool, it's great, we know where it comes from, but how do we document it? And then it was the beginning, it was the early stages of blockchain. And blockchain, now everybody talks about cryptocurrency and everything like that. But blockchain is much more than just cryptocurrency. It's a way how you have a ledger that you can add information to it, which cannot be altered any longer. And the good thing about it is also, if it's a public blockchain, it's not owned by a person. And so we felt this is a fantastic match for our idea. So we created together with another company called Everledger the first color gemstone blockchain. So for tracing of color gemstones. And it's great because this can be done by any person who has a mobile phone. He can start the blockchain, he can register, say, okay, I have here my stone, I would like to start and document it. And he can pass it on, and the next person can add to the story. And this is great. So if we want, we can show the full documentation, the full transparency of the value chain. And I think this is the way for the future, how we can do it. And it's not just the ambition that we say younger people are really key in transparency. They don't believe you if you just say, oh, it was beautifully sourced and we are all a happy family. Maybe, but prove it. And this is so we created that tool and it's free of charge that people can add to their gemstones to the blockchain.
Lovely.
And this is our ambition again to help the industry because we feel that if we don't do it, eventually people who have money, who want to spend, they say, listen, you cannot document where things come from. Why should I spend my money with you? Let me buy something else. There's so many luxury goods out there. They make you happy. They're beautiful as well. So why would I choose that? And we need to show as an industry that we care about that we care about how we treat other people, how that people have a good salary and things like that. It's not something that's going to change overnight, but we have to start somewhere. We have to start and continue going in one direction. And this is also why we joined RJC, why we do all these things, just as a start to go somewhere. And if you ask me, in all your jewelry, do you know every piece where it comes from? No. But is it my ambition to know it in 10 years? Yes. Even in 2 years, I want to have already 20, 30%, I want to know. But it takes time, and we need to allow the industry to change and get there. But we are on a good way, and I see a lot of people caring about it and are really interested in it and say, this is a great idea, I'm going to do it. And beautiful stories come out from Africa where women were finding gemstones, and then they tell their story on the blockchain and passing it on, and it just moves your heart too, because you have other connection on top of it
Right.
with these colored gemstones. And I think this is a good way to go.
That's so wonderful to know. And since you spoke about future generation, I would like to know some piece of advice which has always been very close to you and has been passed down since generation.
That is a good question. I don't really know which one it will be. I mean, we as a family always talk. I see my father and my mother every Sunday for dinner. This is just a ritual that we have. And so we exchange information with each other, and we try to encourage. They encourage me and say, okay, this is good, but they also challenge me and say, listen, I'm not sure if I'm agreeing with that, but it's a good way how you can grow. If you're listening to your parents, you're listening to your family and say, I'm open to it, and then you're still gonna do your own judgment. And I think this is something that for me was important. Families are something very important that gives you strength, and also accepts when you make a mistake, but then they also tell you that, and then they help you to move. And I think this is good. This is important.
It's so wonderful to hear all these words, because India is a country that strongly believes in family traditions and family values. And when I'm hearing it from you that these family traditions and values have also passed down to you from your generation, it just feels so wonderful. I just feel that all of us have been grown around the same principles about being close to your family, about respecting to your family, respecting your mother nature and everybody around.
Couldn't say it better.
Right. So with that, thank you, Mr. Gübelin, for all your valuable time. And it was indeed a pleasure to hear all your words of passion, your knowledge, and your inspiration. And we look forward to welcoming you in India very soon.
Thank you so much for your time, and I'm excited to come to India one day. Thank you.
Yes, we look forward. Thank you, Mr. Gübelin. Thank you so much.